She said she was going to heal, but I followed her into the woods. I never doubted her need for space. Sophia always talked about recharging energy and aligning frequencies. I didn't always understand her spiritual stuff, but I respected it. That was part of loving her, giving her room to be herself. But when she left for that healing retreat and stopped texting, something shifted. Something deep in my chest told me this wasn't about energy or meditation anymore. So I packed a bag, got in my car, and drove out there. My name is Ryan. I'm 32, a software engineer by trade. I've always been a pretty rational guy. Facts over feelings, logic over impulse. But when it came to Sophia, logic had limits. We'd been married 2 years. She was 29, and in that time she'd gone from working part-time as a yoga instructor to branding herself as a wellness coach. She spent more and more time online, posting breathwork videos, rituals, and cryptic captions about transcending ego and letting go of masculine anchors. I tried to be supportive. She had followers, she got invited to local events, and she genuinely seemed happy. Until recently. She started dropping this name in conversation. Elias, her energy mentor. A guy she met at a cacao ceremony in the mountains. At first, I assumed he was just another one of her New Age friends. She said he'd helped her unlock emotional blockages and process past pain. It all sounded a bit culty to me, but again, I didn't want to be that controlling husband who couldn't accept his wife's spiritual growth. But then came the retreat. It was a weekend immersion in feminine divine energy, hosted by Elias and his circle in a remote forest compound 3 hours away. No cell service, no internet, a total disconnect. She said it was for women only, with light guidance from male mentors. I raised my eyebrows at that. She brushed it off, saying I was too rooted in fear and logic. That stung, but I let it go. I even helped her pack. The morning she left, she was glowing, not with joy, but something else. Nervousness, maybe. Guilt? She kissed me lightly and said, "Don't worry, babe. I'll come back renewed." Then she was gone. For the first day, I gave her space. By the second day, I noticed she hadn't posted a single story. No photo dumps, no updates, just silence. And silence from Sophia was loud. I waited until the third morning, checked the weather for the forest region, packed a hoodie and some snacks, and started driving. The retreat location was listed on the registration form she accidentally left on the printer. An off-grid healing village tucked into the woods, past a series of winding dirt roads and a wooden gate marked with stones and feathers. I parked far enough not to be seen. Walked through trees, kept quiet. Then I saw the cabins. No big group. No circle of women in meditation. Just a single small cabin, one car outside. And inside, through a gap in the curtains, I saw her. Sophia, laughing. Sitting on a couch in her robe. Next to Elias. He handed her a mug. She leaned into him. He touched her hair. And then, she kissed him. Not a quick, confused kiss. A slow, lingering one. Like they'd done it before. I froze. I wasn't angry yet. I was confused, staring at a version of my wife I didn't recognize. Was this the healing she talked about? I backed away, heart pounding, stepping on dry leaves. She didn't hear. Neither did he. I didn't go back to the car. I sat on a rock down the path, head in my hands, trying to breathe. I thought maybe I'd misunderstood something. Maybe this was part of the ritual. But the way she looked at him, that wasn't spiritual. That was personal. I waited until nightfall. I told myself I wasn't going to do anything reckless. I wouldn't storm in, wouldn't scream, wouldn't break anything. I just needed confirmation. Something to explain what I saw, or at least force the truth out into the open. But the more I sat there in the dark, the more flashes of memory kept coming back to me. Sophia's recent behavior, things I had ignored, or maybe didn't want to believe. Like 2 weeks ago, when she suddenly started sleeping in the guest room, claiming it was for better chakra flow. Or how she'd stopped letting me touch her after dinner, saying her energy field needed time to decompress. I'd laughed it off, even joked about starting my own energy field, but now I saw those moments for what they were. Distance. Deliberate, growing distance. And then there were the dreams she kept mentioning. She'd say, "I had this wild dream last night. You were in it, but Elias was guiding us." I thought it was weird, sure, but she framed it all like spiritual metaphor. I didn't realize she was priming me. Softening the edges. I pulled out my phone. No service. But I still had the camera. Around 11 p.m., I circled back to the cabin. Lights were off, except for a warm flicker from the fireplace. No voices now, just the low hum of music playing, some kind of flute or chanting track. I crept close, angled my phone toward the window, and hit record. And there she was. Sophia, wrapped in a blanket, lying on a makeshift bedroll near the fire. And Elias? Shirtless, sitting behind her, massaging her shoulders. They weren't talking. They were breathing together. Deep, synchronized breaths, in and out. It looked intimate, sacred even. Then she turned her head and kissed him again. Longer this time. I stopped the recording. There was no mistaking it now. This wasn't a misunderstanding or part of some healing ceremony. This was a full-blown affair, disguised as a spiritual awakening. I walked back to my car, heart like lead in my chest, throat dry. All I could think was, how long? When had she decided this man was her soulmate? Had she been comparing us for months, building a fantasy where Elias was the enlightened one, and I was just a logic-bound husband who didn't get it? I got in my car, turned on the ignition, but didn't drive. Not yet. Instead, I opened the gallery, watched the clip again, just to be sure. There it was, her smile, her hand on his chest, his fingers brushing her hair away. I had the proof, but I still didn't have a plan. When I got home the next day, I didn't mention a word. She came back late that Sunday evening, glowing again, saying it had been transformative, and that she'd never felt more whole. I smiled, asked if she wanted tea. She said yes. We sat on the couch. She talked about releasing pain and calling in truth. So I gave her truth. I asked her casually how many people were at the retreat. She said she was going to heal, but I followed her into the woods. She hesitated, just for a second, and said, "About 20, maybe 25. I nodded. "That's a lot," I said. "Were you in a cabin with all of them?" Another pause. No, it was split. Some of us were in shared tents. Me and the other women. I looked at her. "Were you ever alone with Elias?" Her face flickered, just for a moment. A crack in the calm. "No," she said too quickly. "He was guiding group work mostly. Very professional." I didn't say anything else. I got up, plugged my phone into the TV, and played the video. She didn't even try to deny it. Sophia didn't cry. She didn't scream, didn't deny it. She just sat there, silent, her hands in her lap, her eyes fixed on the TV as the footage played. I stood behind the couch, arms crossed, watching her face more than the video. I wanted to see guilt, or at least shame. But there was nothing. Just stillness. Almost like she was meditating through the moment. When the screen went black, she finally turned to me. "I didn't mean for you to find out like this," she said. I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because the sentence was insane. "That's what you're worried about? That I found out?" She exhaled deeply, like we were about to start some kind of spiritual therapy session. "Elias and I, it's complicated," she started. I cut her off. "No, it's not. You lied, you kissed him, you slept with him. Don't give it a fancy name just because he plays flute music while doing it." That got to her. Her jaw tightened. She stood up, suddenly full of energy. "I've been unfulfilled for a long time, okay? Emotionally, spiritually. You never tried to grow with me. I've been asking you for years to be more open, to try new things." "You asked me to go vegan," I snapped. "I did that. You asked me to meditate every morning. I did that too. I bought you crystals. I even did that silent retreat with you where we couldn't talk for 3 days." She blinked. "Then why do I still feel alone?" That stopped me. Because deep down, I'd felt it too. The drift, the slow burn, the way she was searching for something I couldn't give or didn't understand. But none of that justified this. You could have just talked to me, I said. Instead, you ran to someone else. Someone who chants about enlightenment and then sleeps with someone else's wife in the woods. She started to cry. Not loud sobs, just quiet tears, as if grieving something only she could see. I packed her things that night, not out of rage, just clarity. It was like something clicked into place. She offered to stay at a friend's house. I said that was fine. As she left, she paused at the door and said, "This wasn't about sex. It was about being seen." I didn't respond. I closed the door behind her and stood there, in the silence. It's been 6 weeks. The house feels emptier, but not in a painful way. More like when you finally clean a cluttered room and can breathe again. I found the footage on my phone yesterday. I deleted it, not because I've forgiven her, but because I don't need proof anymore. I have truth, and that's enough. Emily, a friend of Sophia's, reached out recently. Said she didn't see it coming. That Sophia's been staying with her, processing. She asked if I wanted closure. I said no. Some endings don't need closure, just distance. I'm not angry anymore. But I am changed. There's a scar now, not a wound. And scars remind you of what not to ignore. So yeah, next time someone tells me they're going on a weekend yoga retreat, I'll still smile. But I'll listen to that gut feeling too. Because the gut never lies.